And welcome back to Lantern Corps. Today's Lantern Corps video comes from Mithri Strider? Strider? Did I get it right? If I got it wrong, I apologize. And you asked the question, what Lantern Corps does Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday? Where Lantern Corps does Solomon Grundy belong into? This is kind of interesting because, remember, Solomon Grundy is a DC character. He exists in the Lantern Corps, the world of the Lantern Corps. So, in theory, if you really did qualify for a Lantern Corps, a ring would have gone to him at this point. But maybe he just hasn't been alive at any point for a ring at that time to go to him. That being said, I think he probably got a Black Lantern ring at one point because the nature of it. And we'll talk about that, obviously. But for now, I guess Solomon Grundy. For those of you who don't know Solomon Grundy, he's like this. He is cursed to come back alive, or come back to life every time he dies, and stronger every time he dies. In theory, he has no upper limit to his strength, because every time he dies, he will get stronger. It's kind of like Doomsday, but a much slower rate. A rate of it increasing, and he's not immune to what killed him, so he can still die the same way. But in theory, it's the similar practice. So, by that logic, what Lantern Corps does he belong into? A few I want to get out of the way right now. He's not a Orange Lantern. He's not greedy. He actually doesn't really have that much intelligence. It's very debatable what level of intelligence he has, because depending on your interpretation, he can either be completely mindless, or at least somewhat, or if you like with the Justice League cartoon, somewhat able to, form thoughts and have communication and all that. So, it doesn't really matter because he's not really that greedy. One thing he was really fighting for in the Justice League show was his soul. So hope, unless you count holding out hope, he can get his soul back, and even then, there's far better choices. Not many people place their hope in him. But let's move on to something that you think he could qualify for. So, depending on your interpretation, the Lantern Corps of Compassion is actually a good choice. The Indigo League, because you either need to have no compassion in your heart, or compassion needs to be your dominant trait. If we're talking about the mindless berserker Solomon Grundy, then yeah, because he's mindless, he has and just driven to do bad things. He's completely without compassion. Therefore, he could, in theory, be an Indigo Lantern. It's not my strongest pick, to be fair. Another one is not my strongest pick, but hear me out. The White Lantern Corps of Life. Now, to be a White Lantern, you need to embody life. You need to experience life, protect life, be alive, all that. Although Deadman got a White Lantern at one point, and he was, going on roller coasters, feeling the thrill of being alive, all that to get his the power up. So why Solomon Grundy, who's more about death? Well, think about it. He dies, but he always comes back. He's cursed with life. Granted, it would have to be one of the more intelligent versions of him to be qualified for it. And even then, there are far better qualifiers for a White Lantern ring, to be certain. But that said, there's an argument that can be made there that because he always comes back and that he is cursed with life, and to come back no matter what, he could get a White Lantern ring. It's, again, not the strongest argument. Let's crack one or two more out there that I know we can't qualify for. Solomon Grundy is not a Star Sapphire, so I don't think anyone's really going to be in doubt about that. He's not a Yellow Lantern either. That's not true. He could, in theory, be Yellow Lantern, because I'm sure he scares people. But compared to a lot of other foes, like the Justice League or even Batman's fight, he's far from the scariest one. So I didn't put Yellow on here, but in theory he could qualify. It's just not he really isn't the most frightening individual in the world. Red, though, I think is an option, because one of the things that does motivate him is just being angry. Like, even mindless Solomon Grundy is still very angry. That's why he's lashing out. And then, of course, you get the versions of Solomon Grundy who actually have levels of intelligence. So they're angry about the scenario they're in. So, and then, again, Justice League animated show where he fought the Eldritch Horror Cthulhu-esque being to get his soul back. He was angry because he wanted his soul back. So ultimately, Rage could actually be a good fit for him. Lastly, he's not a Green Lantern. I don't think he is. I don't think he's got any real willpower in him at all. Because he's usually mindless, and even when he's not mindless, he's pretty dim-witted. So I can't go with that. Obviously, though, out of all of them, he's a Black Lantern. And because he is pretty, because even though he's cursed with life in the sense that he will keep coming back from the dead. Again, a la Doomsday. But yeah, he's pretty much a Black Lantern. Uh, just because he's the embodiment of resurrection and coming back from the dead, and therefore he has to die multiple times, dying multiple times. I don't know if having died several times over makes him more qualified to be a Black Lantern. I don't know if the ring, like if he were to be between a guy who died once and Solomon Grundy who's died God knows how many times, it's going to be like, nope, this one. I don't know, maybe. But I mean, the obvious choice sometimes is the correct one. I do think it's the Black Lantern Corps that he falls strongest into. It just makes the most sense. But I do think the red one's a pretty solid option as well, past the Black Lantern Corps. So, in order of what I think is least to strongest, or strongest to least, sorry, Black Lantern Corps definitely is number one pick. Red is not a bad secondary choice, though, I think. I think red could work. Surprisingly, I'll say Indigo comes in at the third bronze medal spot, and then coming up and you get the Duster, or the Duster, coming up and getting just the booby prize is the White Lantern Corps, with a somewhat of an argument for it. It's not the strongest argument, I admit that, but there's a possibility there. But ultimately, that is just my opinion. Do you think Solomon Grundy could be any one of these four lanterns? Or could he qualify for any of the other ones? All right, if you've got an idea on a way he could qualify for any of the other Lantern Corps, let me know. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And hit that bell if you want notifications. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Until then, later.